Hey YouTube, we're here at Level Up in Woodstock, Ontario, doing a Kaijudo Duel Day, and I've got Taylor with me.
Yeah.
And what are you running today, Taylor?
I'm doing a Kalima. It's not a Kalima control, it's more of a ramp to Kalima. Darkness is my favorite attribute, or favorite civilization in the game, and I've made it my own personal thing, trying to make Kalima work successfully. I've tried different variants of the deck, and I think this is the one that works the best.
You don't want run water in this then? It's just straight
I tried water. I've tried it with 2 Tritonus. It works because Tritonus works good in the control matchup to lock down the field, but in the rush matchup when you're on the back foot, drawing into the Tritonus rather than the Kalima hurts because Kalima comes in and immediately affects the game.
Makes sense.
So.
Alright, get into it, man.
Alright, so obviously the deck's built around her, so 3 Queen Kalima. It's pretty much the only Wrath in the game as of right now. So I mean, she comes in and I don't know the dark to nature ratio in the deck, but she hits at least 2, if not 3, almost every time she's played. So I can pretty much count on her to clear the board for me. Then I go into basically how I get there. I run the 3 Grudge Weaver. Pretty much every Kalima deck that I've seen profiled online, or anyone that's played Kalima in tournaments, run Grudge Weaver. Typically they run it with the Ripper Reaper combo, with Gregoria's Fortress. I've tried that along with different combinations. I found it's too challenging to keep Gregoria on the field and get Ripper Reaper just because of how off their levels are. I mean, if they were reversed and Gregoria was at a 5 and Ripper Reaper was at 8, I can see the play work a lot better. But Grudge Weaver is an early game blocker, deals with rush, particularly well against the Firelight matchup, making them discard cards, especially cards like Gilliflame. That could be a problem for a lot of control decks, especially Kalima. Then I play the standard 3 Skeeter Swarmer. Basically I play this until a better blocker for Dark comes out. It's a good solid 2-drop, and the reason why I run it basically is because Kalima's biggest weakness in the entire game is light, and obviously light being the rival to Dark. So I think that Keeper of Laws is a real problem for this deck because this whole deck targets other than Kalima herself. So Skeeter Swarmer is at 4,000 body. It just eats Keeper of Laws, right? So then it took me a while to get a hold of, but 3 Scared Orwell of Gloomhollow. They're really hard to find, especially at our locals. This card's very rare now, so and they're pretty pricey. So I was able to get a hold of 3 Gloomhollows, especially for KMC. This card just has saved me numerous times. The amount of times I can sit on a turn 3 Scared Orwell, and just keep mana ramping and eventually getting there, right? I did a matchup against Rush and went turn 3 Sog, turn 4 Sog, turn 5 Sog, and they basically just lost because they can't get around this guy. Then I play the 3 Screeching Scared Orwell. Screeching basically is in the deck. I don't run Hydra Medusa. I've been toying around with Hydra Medusa, but there's not a high enough Chimera count to make Hydra Medusa live all the time. So I run Screeching just because it comes in, it kills early game blockers. A lot of the Dragon decks like to run cards like Aqua Strider. So it comes in, kills Strider. Not only that, it's perfect target for Lux. Lux gives me a big issue, especially when Lux is on board and I go Kalima, because Kalima goes and mills 3 Darks, goes to kill the dragons, and they just sack the Lux in response. So Screeching makes it really good for me to just come in and get rid of the Lux early game. Then to the dual civs, I run 3 Goop Striker. Now this is my own tech choice. This guy has quickly become one of my favorite early game cards, just because, one, I'm a big fan of the Slayer, but the fact that not only can he take out cards that are problems to me like Neuron, but trade into bigger guys later on when I draw in him in late game. He's a dual civ, so he still counts as a black target when I mill with Kalima, but also his decompose ability makes me so when I slay into it I'm not really negating. negating because I'm going into mana anyways. And then 3, obviously the staple in any dark nature deck is 3 Necros. This card is really good. I mean, it if I milled Kalima with Kalima and they killed Kalima or something, or I milled a card like a Sog that I need, Necros is very viable, especially with my ramp. He's pretty much one of my only mid-game plays, especially when I'm losing to mid-range at that point in the game. Because this deck just, I mean, Kalima, she needs to get there, so she takes a lot of damage. So Necros helps me recover some of my early blockers lost, especially things like Skeeter Swarmer that have previously, fought off Keeper of Laws. Then I go into my kill spells. So I run 3 Toxic Fog. I was toying around with 3 Suffocate prior to that, but Suffocate being at a 7 makes it really hard to cast from hand. Even with the ramp, I'd rather see the early game Toxic Fog, or even as a Shield Blast, it's obviously a benefit. It clears out birds, once again, is a big problem, because if they ramp faster than me using birds, seeing an Andromeda earlier than seeing Kalima is a problem. Then I run the standard dark removal. I mean, 3 Bone Blades, deals with early blockers, deals with birds, and deals with rush. And then 3 Terrapit for the late game removal. Also, I mean, is a Shield Blast, but late game removal to deal with opposing monarchs or dragons. And 2 Mark of Kalima. Mark is a kill spell in itself. It does essentially what Kalima does, or puts me Kalima into play earlier. And when I like to see this is especially against rush, because I need Kalima to clear the board as fast as possible, so I don't lose the game. Then basically this is how I get there. This is the green portion of the deck, the ramp. I run 3 Sprout, because that's the best turn 2 play for ramp, obviously. Sprout's great as a Shield Blast, but also great as that turn 2, especially when you drop the Goop Striker or the Necros in mana turn 1. Then I got the 3 Energize. I just recently added this card in the deck. I like it because it's a Shield Blast. Also, it gives my creatures plus 1,000 power. Sometimes it works to just give my cards that much of an advantage. If not, I mean, it is a blast and it's still mana ramp. I'm probably going to take this out for Cultivate when it comes into play, when Invasion Earth is released. It's not a Shield Blast, but Cultivate lets me choose what I put into my mana, because you don't always want to flip into Kalima into mana, because I have no way of getting her back once she's there, since I don't run blue and I don't run Kivu. Then 3 Reap and Sow, because the best is when you go turn 2 Sprout into turn 3 Reap and Sow. So your curve is accelerating really fast, and Kalima becomes so much more valuable. And this is my only source of draw power in the deck, since I don't run blue. And then this is 3 Foul Mana. Is interesting. I never ran this card. I thought it was bad at first. It's quickly become really good in this deck, just because it's a Suffocate for 1 monster, but at the same time it is a Shield Blast, and it's still my green source that mana ramps me, but also a black source if I mill it with Kalima. And then finally I run 2 Ramnoth as opposed to the 2 Mana Storms, because I'd rather see 6,000 double breaking body late game than drawing into a Mana Storm that does me nothing when Kalima's already on board. Not only that is, like I said, I don't have much of a mid game. As you saw, Necros is my only mid game play, so Ramnoth gives me a double breaker on turn 6, or earlier if I've already ramped. And Ramnoth just lets me keep ramping, getting to Kalima. If I flip Kalima into play, it's unfortunate, but that's why I run her at 3. So Ramnoth finishes the game for me a lot of times. So
awesome. That's Kalima ramp. Sweet, thanks man.
Beat you even more now.